Welcome back. It is now my distinct honour to introduce to our Global Mining Indaba virtual audience, His Excellency Julius Maada, BO, of course, President of Sierra Leone. Your Excellency.
Colleague Excellencies, Ministers of Government, industry leaders, future partners, friends, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. From the government and people of the Republic of Sierra Leone, I bring warm greetings to this year's virtual Investing in Africa Mining Indaba. Let me thank the organizers for hosting this year's Indaba in spite of the massive impact of the global COVID-19 pandemic with which the world is still wrestling. Our presence here demonstrates our unsubdued commitment to sharing experiences and new ideas, exploring opportunities in spite of a global downturn, and fostering partnerships with all stakeholders in the sector. This indeed cements the Mining Indaba's credentials as the leading platform in Africa that convenes policymakers, leaders, experts, and the international mining community around Africa's boundless mining potential. So let me once again thank the organizers of this year's event. Globally, as mining operations and supply chains have been disrupted and commodity prices remain low due to the continuing impact of COVID-19, there is also a real possibility of long-term lull in investor confidence and a drop in revenues from the sector. Sierra Leone took a series of preemptive and concerted measures to insulate the mining sector from the most adverse effects of COVID-19. We provided short-term tax and other relief packages for the sector in order to ease the anticipated economic and logistical impact of COVID-19. We also worked with the companies and the communities at mine sites to enforce national measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19. The mining companies augmented government's efforts by providing additional equipment, treatment beds, and PPEs for health staff. This show of compassion and concern for the health and safety of their workers and the communities at mine site is truly commendable. The National COVID Emergency Response Center also maintained regulatory inspection visits at mine sites throughout the period. As a consequence of all these efforts, mine site infections have been far lower than the low case fatality ratio of 3%. There have also been no layoffs or redundancies in the mining sector, and mines have operated throughout COVID-19 period. This close collaboration among all stakeholders to protect the health and safety of employees have saved lives and protected livelihoods. It also speaks to how we can work together to begin to lay a strong foundation for rebuilding the mining sector and developing a long-term resilience around mining communities beyond this pandemic. But the worst of COVID-19 for the mining sector is not over in Africa. I would therefore argue that as leaders, our countries should anticipate and minimize the economic and other shocks of this COVID-19 period with forward-looking policies that promote more transparency, shore up resilience, and rebuild investor confidence in the sector. We can do so by creating a progressive investment environment. At last year's Mining Indaba, I highlighted fiscal and other macroeconomic reforms we had undertaken in Sierra Leone, in addition to the fight against corruption. We are finalizing a comprehensive review of the 11-year-old Mines and Minerals Act of 2009. The review removes regulatory duplications and inconsistencies and updates provision in line with international best practices. The new act will fully underpin the legal and governance structure of the entire extractive sector. Investors are assured of a clear and predictable legal and regulatory framework that guarantees security of tenure and fiscal stability. Sierra Leone is an EITI-compliant country, and we continue to pursue transparency and accountability principles in the mining sector, as in other sectors, to ensure that we do not only remain compliant, but we also subject ourselves to scrutiny by our own citizens. EITI compliance has strengthened public and corporate governance, promoted understanding of natural resource management, and provided timely data that informs reforms in the extractive sector. We have reduced EITI reporting periods from 2 years to 1 year, and we have embedded EITI provisions in the national legislations such as the Extractive Industries Revenue Act and the Beneficial Ownership Disclosure provision in the reviewed Mines and Minerals Bill that will soon be enacted. In 2018, I also assented into law the Extractive Industries Revenue Act that promotes consistency in the application of fiscal regime in the mining and petroleum sectors, provides for and coordinates various taxes and charges on the extractive industries, and regulates the fiscal aspects of extractive industry agreements. We have since then created an Extractive Industry Revenue Unit in the National Revenue Authority, and we have developed framework of cooperation between the National Revenue Authority and the National Minerals Agency to facilitate coordination between the two agencies and enhance revenue administration, governance, and transparency in the mining sector. We have also rolled out the Mineral Royalty Return for the administration and assessment of mining royalties, and finalizing the ring-fenced corporate income tax return template to enable tax reporting for separate mineral operations, and also a template for calculating mineral petroleum resource rent tax. The National Revenue Authority is currently working with some development partners to access the mineral pricing database, which will help them in getting real-time values for mineral export. The Ministry of Finance is also in the regulatory review process to develop transfer pricing regulations with support from ATAF, World Bank, and Oxfam, and to identify and address potential inconsistencies in the Act and other existing legislation. The government of Sierra Leone understands that mining operations can only thrive where there is adequate infrastructure to support it. Thus, Sierra Leone is pursuing unprecedented infrastructural development projects to make life easy for its people and for investors. We are building and expanding our bridges and road networks and continue to improve on electricity, water supply, and communication systems. With regard to new opportunities for energy generation, IFC will soon partner with a leading LNG company to construct a low-cost LNG terminal in Freetown Harbour, one of Africa's largest natural harbours. The LNG terminal will be based around a floating storage unit, a mooring system, 2 small LNG carriers, and a small onshore facility with regasification, truck, and ISO container filling capabilities. With this combination of assets, the LNG terminal company would offer both infrastructure services and bundled LNG services as per the choice of customers, which could be gas market aggregators, power generation farms, LNG suppliers, or large industrial consumers. This critical energy sector is open to investors. There are also opportunities for logistical infrastructure for transporting Sierra Leone's mineral resources to world markets. As I indicated at the outset, opportunities for international investment in the mining sector abound. Our country is richly endowed with mineral resources such as iron ore, gold, diamond, bauxite, rutile, illuminite, zircon, chromite, and columbite, tantalite, and more. The presence of these deposits represents major opportunities for potential investors and the country to derive optimal benefits from extracting, processing, and exporting of these minerals. Let me hasten to add that although export volumes and values for major minerals such as diamonds and rutiles dipped as a result of COVID-19, the general outlook for the mineral sector is good. A number of large-scale mining companies are on track to commence large-scale mining operations in 2021. The number of small-scale mining licenses granted increased significantly from 3 in 2018 to 24 by the end of 2020. I will give a bird's eye view of a few of our mineral resources. Sierra Leone is world-renowned for the quality and quantity of our diamonds. 4 of the 20 largest diamonds ever found in the world have been from Sierra Leone. And this includes the 968-carat Star of Sierra Leone found on Valentine's Day in 1972, and a 709-carat diamond found in 2017 that now ranks as the 13th largest diamond in the world. We have 20,000 square kilometers of diamond fields in the eastern, southern, and northern Sierra Leone, and investors are welcome to explore these opportunities. Sierra Leone has one of the largest natural rutile deposits in the world. A major minerals and company is mining a JOC-compliant resource of over 800 metric tons of high-grade rutile in southern Sierra Leone. Another company has since acquired a large-scale mining license to mine rutile and other sand minerals in southern Sierra Leone. Bauxite has been mined in Sierra Leone since 1965. The country's bauxite mines contains an indicated washed reserve of 12.4 million metric tons of bauxite ore. Other bauxite deposits have been identified in the northern part of the country. We also have significant high-grade iron ore deposits located within range of potential port facilities. What we want as a nation are trustworthy, credible, and patient investors. investors who value fair and ethical business principles and practices. Investors who are interested in a sustainable, long-term relationship with our country. With respect to gold, several companies have done extensive exploration work, and the country's first industrial gold mine commenced operation in 2018. The foregoing list is by no means exhaustive, and we continue to take steps to help determine the full extent of the country's mineral potentials, with a view to attracting foreign direct investment into the minerals sector. In 2020, we completed a systematic program of extensive and high-resolution, low-altitude nationwide airborne geophysical survey, aeromagnetic and radiometric mapping of the entire country. Our primary objective was to acquire adequate geological data that is required for profitable minerals development and thus optimize benefit from the minerals deposit. Results indicate an unprecedented level of subsurface detail that provides unique opportunities for minerals exploration in a country already well known for its diamonds, gold, bauxite, rutile, and gold reserves, but with untapped potential for modern minerals essential for the transition to a low-carbon future as well. Products from the nationwide airborne geophysical survey should be available for public distribution by April 2021. In order to promote operational efficiency and in keeping with international best practice, data distribution will be via an online geoscience portal. The future of mining in a post-COVID era is also worth reflecting on. At last year's Indaba, I noted that the fourth industrial revolution is upon us, and new technologies have facilitated business and official interactions, including this mining in Indaba during this time of COVID-19. For the future of mining, new technologies will continue to improve efficiencies, promote mining safety, support environmental resilience, and create new jobs within the sector. Sierra Leone has invested heavily in STEM education, and the Sierra Leone workforce of the future will be well equipped to be at the center of the future of mining in our country. As a country, we are focused on addressing gender disparity and inclusion. Training women in the use of new technologies will create a level playing field for women, especially, and create a more inclusive mining workforce. Finally, let me conclude by stating that as capital outflows to countries like mine recover during the post-COVID period, we would like to reiterate that we are looking for trustworthy, credible, and patient investors who are willing to become sustainable and long-term players in our mining agile, transparent, well-governed mining sector. Once again, let me thank the organizers of this year's mining in Indaba and thank the audience for your attention. Thank you.